hey, Kaci Brown, what are we going to be talking about today?
Yeah. So what's going to be really fun today is we're going to essentially dial it back, and sharing the updates and things like that. Like what it comes down to is the formula to make these powerful decisions and shifts in our life and our business. And it's sort of a mantra that I've developed over the years. And I hope that it's something that will be a tool that everyone who's listening will be able to apply, to anything in their life, whether it's business, relationships, goals that they have for their personal, um, attaining. And so it's, we're going to get into how to leverage less, how to do more with less by focusing your time and your decisions on what really matters. And the formula that we use, do you want me to reveal the formula and then we're going to dissect it, or I can keep opening loops all day long, Rhonda?
No, yeah. So you give the formula and then I will give your funnyism that we have shared in Messenger over the past week. And I think the two together, sandwiched together, people will remember it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is how I equip myself. And I think I need to share just a little bit of background because I used to not be a very decisive person. I want to know and understand all of the options. I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to researching and understanding like what all of my options are. If we go out to dinner, I'm looking at every page of the menu, and it doesn't matter if it's breakfast or brunch or dinner, I will read them all because I just want to understand what all my options are. When I go to the grocery store, if I'm shopping for something, I know this comes out of childhood and only having X amount of money to spend at the grocery store. But if I'm buying flour, I will calculate the the cents per pound on everything before I make a decision. And that's how I used to make decisions. And now I've shifted to a formula that is decide, declare, do. And it is condensed the amount of time. I trust my intuition, and intuition is a muscle that when we give ourselves the space to trust ourselves with that, and that's what really was like underlying the foundation of everything that I just shared. There was that marketers call it FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. And that's what was happening. I was looking at all of the menu items. I was looking at everything on the shelf, and I was like, is there something that might be better that I'm missing and making a decision for this? And that is a dangerous loop that we get caught up in life and business and relationships and things that we want to do with our goals. Like we are very emotional creatures, but we're also really logical. And if we get stuck in that muck of logic, like we will talk ourselves out of every possible angle and not make a decision. So ever since I've started employing this formula, decide, declare, do, I move forward. And even if it is the wrong decision, I still learn from it and I still move forward. It's sort of like momentum hacking, where you're getting to the other side with more data than you had at the beginning. And so to do that, you also are eliminating distractions in your life, right? So on the other side of this is it's so like there's two sides to every coin. And I feel like we go down the road of multitasking and we think that's the only way to be efficient. And the other side of that is like ruthless focus. Mm-hmm. So when you combine the power of decide, declare, do, and apply that ruthless focus to the doing, you are an unstoppable force that moves forward faster than you could have ever imagined before.
And the reason why you are an unstoppable force is because with decide, declare, and do, you really get to the nitty gritty, the nuts and bolts, and you have to keep it super simple. There is not the polish, there's not fluff, there's, the pretty brand boards, and let me have a mood board, and let me figure out my colors, and let me make a pretty logo. It's speed to market. And as small business owners, what a gift we have to go speed to market. I mean, seriously, the way that we can launch things. I think a couple of other things that I would just add to decide, declare, do, keeping it simple. But another thing is with that, I think there's a lot of accountability that comes into play where we decided, all right, we have made that decision in the sand. And just a quick side note, like I didn't realize that was the way that you make decisions, or used to make decisions, I should say. And I was smiling really big because it sounds just like my daughter. Like when we go to a store and we're in the checkout, like she can take 10 minutes and look at all of the things. And then she picks something, and then we're in checkout and she's like, oh, I want this one. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is happening right now? And so I think that's why I love you even more, because you remind me of my mags. So that was interesting. That's something I didn't know about you. But it's the accountability. We decide it, we declare it, we speak it. Y'all, it ain't perfect. It ain't pretty. We got to take imperfect action, and then we just do it. And the speed to market in doing something like that is that you're going to collect data that much further. I mean, not that much further, that much quicker, right? And it was one of the things I know, like my business that I had for like 18 years, like one of the things for my online business, it was like both worlds were colliding. And I remember distinctively, like at one point with my online business, I said, when am I going to be able to make decisive decisions and be confident in them? And the only way to do that is to take the action, collect the data, read the data, and let the data give you the roadmap. Then at that point, you can make that decision and move forward. But friends, the only way to get there is to decide, declare, and do. And so behind the scenes, Kaci and I, we're doing all these little things. They all go toward our quarterly goal, but we will have a conversation. So we are deciding, we're in that deciding phase, right? And then all of a sudden, like Kaci and I, we'll get to a point and we're like, all right, let's do it. Like, let's declare it. Like, and I'm like, okay. And then in the doing phase, Kaci Brown now has a funny saying. And you guys are all going to know this funny saying, but I laugh out loud and spit my coffee out when she said it. So what did you say, Kaci?
I said, after we make a decision, it's like the digital equivalent of here, hold my beer, because if it's not by that afternoon, it is definitely by the next day. It is done. Mm-hmm. And that feels so good. Mm-hmm. It's so amazing.
So let's give an example. I think like, do you want to talk about our YouTube and our amazing coach?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Let me brag on Rhonda. Okay.
Oh, okay. So, I thought you were going to brag on Colton.
Well, we're going to, but you are a beast. Like, so we have a YouTube coach and strategist that we work with. Colton is incredible. We'll definitely, so I'll note it here, Rhonda, we'll put it in the resources. But he outlines like just laser execution strategy. And as soon as that light bulb clicks, and you can see in Rhonda's eyes when it clicks, she just executes. Like we had a conversation one day, and the next day she's like, I've got 20 videos scheduled to be running. And by the next time we talked to him, there was already data back. Right. And he went through there and polished our titles and the SEO and things like that. So there were things to fix. Right. And Rhonda was a little frustrated. She's like, dang it. Right. Like she wanted to hit it out of the park. Right. With the first swing. But if she hadn't have taken that just massive action moving forward, he wouldn't have had all of that data to polish. And now, like, we're getting, she's got, I guess, 2030 in the loop. We've outsourced the process to the amazing Queenie, our just incredible, like everything tech. Like she just gets it done. And like there's views, like, and not only views, but like record views as far as watch time that's going on, and the seeds that we're planting and the action that we're taking, just because we declared it as a goal, it was implemented quickly. Like it wasn't perfect, but it was implemented quickly. And I think that's really, really important there to drive that lesson home. We're not afraid to do it messy, and we're not afraid to fail, because we know that data is going to mean filtering a better decision moving forward. So being decisive isn't always about getting it right. It's just letting go of having to be right, trusting your gut enough to take the leap, but knowing and trusting yourself too, to adapt and pivot and polish whatever data and feedback you get back on the other side.
So I'll leave an open loop here where we're going to actually do a breakdown. And I think like to do the breakdown and then to continue to follow up on our YouTube journey, I think is going to be really important. But a lot of things that I just want to like pull out of what she just said and what we've done, and the tricks that we're playing on ourselves. So we're working with Colton. We had the initial meeting. I was given the marching orders. Like, we had decided, like, this is the flag in the sand that we want to plant. We want to do Customers for Life podcast, and our content where we're going to be publishing is on YouTube. Colton just boils down the overwhelm of YouTube to simplicity, to just make the video, just use the content that you've already got. So I was like, okay. And so I used his strategy. And I think at that point, we maybe had about 15 videos, and that's in a week's time, 15 videos. And we can further break that down. And you're like, that seems like a lot. But I was like, we need to have the data. We need to have the data to read. So I was like, Cassie, hold my beer and let me get to work. Let me put my head down. There was a little bit of overwhelm in all of that, in the thinking, how can I pass this task off? Because we're systems people, Cassie and I mean, at the foundation and at the roots of what we do, there are systems and processes that run things for us so we can stay in our zone. And I was like, how am I going to, that felt overwhelming, but I'm like, okay, let's do it. And I was pretty proud. I was pretty proud of myself. But here's the thing, the decide and declare and do, what that allowed us to do in just 7 days, when we then turned around and met with Colton, within 5 minutes, he was able to see from the work that we had done what needed to be changed. And I was like, dang it. Like, I was like, when she's saying, like, I wasn't mad, but it was just like, oh my gosh, that was a lot of work. But I mean, hey guys, let's play on the playground and let's like make it the best we can. Right. And I'm like, okay, all right, well, round one, let's like get back in it and let's do it. And so I started it again. And I had already done the reps. And so now it's a little bit easier. So the overwhelm of how I'm going to pass this task off in just 7 days. I'm like, okay. And so now we did it again. And guess what? We met and we've got videos now. It's kind of funny because it sounds like, Cassie, we have 1 million subscribers and 1 million views, but right. Isn't it funny? But on our channel, we had one day, we had like 100+ views in just one day. And that to us, like when I see in Colton skis, and I'm like, my analytics are like your ski slope, babe, because they are climbing, right? And that is just like the little encouragement that you need, because in our conversation that we had, I said, okay, Colton, like, I'm going to give this like 60 days. Now I have this formula and we're going to keep meeting and it's going to be amazing. And I was like, so 60 days, is that good enough? Because it already feels like it's been 10 years, right? He's like, well, in some cases, that long form video can take a year. I went, what? We have to do this for a year? I mean, in internet years, I mean, I'm already retired at that point. That's how it felt, right? But because of the things that we've been implementing and how quickly we decided. And the funny thing is, you know, I don't even drink. So the whole phrase, hold my beer now, we are getting t-shirts, is funny, but we had the data to make the decision and we made it better based on the feedback, and we were held accountable to do the task. And then it becomes fun. And so I would say over the past 7 days, because of that second round, I felt more comfortable. I had condensed what that process looked like, recorded it. We're getting Queenie up to speed, and she's doing a test. We're getting feedback, doing another test, getting feedback. This worked, this didn't. And now we're a machine. We are a machine and can publish anywhere minimum 4 videos a day. There's a key to that, and we'll talk about that in another like YouTube breakdown progress report. But when you decide, man, you just need to do it messy so you can start getting the data back.
Yeah, it's that messy first draft. And it's one of the biggest gifts I've given to myself, to not have to be perfect right out of the gate. Right. And I love the fact that you were able to share that about your experience and knowing how hard you worked on that first, block of publishing, and then to come back and it's like, these titles just need to be tweaked. Well, that is one simple sentence, but it's duplicated over 20.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just not that. We got to redo that. There's several things that we have to redo. But then that led me to optimize a couple of other things, and we're testing those things. We just, when it comes to publishing like that, I think we're afraid to do it wrong. We are afraid to do it wrong. And the videos that we had originally published and scheduled out, it's only going to add 2. Now, the ones that are more optimized, they're going to really start to soar. So I would rather, do it messy and figure it out than not do it at all and try to be perfect.
Oh my goodness, that's going to be a highlighted quote that's going to circulate with our promotion graphics. That's for sure. And a lot of people, it's the social media highlight reel. Like here's my Instagram pretty picture. And I think that's what I love about this journey of just, this, our little corner, our underground podcast of the world, the Customers for Life. That is how you create, those imperfect moments are honestly like the missing pieces for a lot of people, because they see the checklist, they see the formulas, they see my cat's having a fun time back there. She's playing with her tail. It's so you see what's packaged and put out on the shelf. You don't see the manufacturer and plant of everything that it took to get it there. And even before that, it's sometimes just, a messy kitchen table. I remember growing up in our marketing business, and so many women who were in that field, even though it was a male dominated field of marketing agencies for the in-store grand openings, how many stories I heard of businesses that were built around a kitchen table, and, had that first messy step without all of the systems, without all of the polished procedures and policies and things like that. Just being willing to start something and daring enough to continue, that's inspirational.
Absolutely. And I think, that's a great way. Or is that a great way? I mean, you launch the podcast. Now you're opening loops. Now you're closing it for us. The only thing that I am going to add is that, so the decide, declare, do, that's the simple strategy. And in your mind, you're like, okay, where is my step-by-step? We are filming your step-by-step to make it super simple to decide, declare, do. And the workshop is profitable clarity. Now, at what point you're watching this particular episode here on YouTube, or maybe you're listening to it on the podcast, wait for it, search for it, because it is coming, and it includes sticky notes. I mean, that just sounds like fun right there. I mean, who doesn't want to dive in there?
My
right?
gosh, who doesn't want to live a life with sticky notes?
And cats, obviously. Look.
They are really doing it up today. I think they're catching on that they're going to be YouTube stars.
I think they're part of our new shorts that we're going to be running on YouTube, are the cats. That's awesome. Well, you look amazing today. You decided, you declared, and you done did it. So I'm so proud of you, Kaci Brown, and so happy to be on this journey with you.
I am too. I am grateful. Thank you to those of you who are listening or watching. My challenge to you is what have you not been deciding, declaring, and doing? So I'm really glad that Rhonda opened it up and encouraged me to share a little bit of what my personal journey, and just that post yesterday that she mentioned, I had people reach out, and it's what's amazing is there's someone who is on the same path as you. There is always someone struggling with some of the things that you're either working through or you're in that messy middle of overcoming. And I just like gave them the full rundown. They reached out through personal message and they were like, I've been struggling with this. I need to do this too. What did you do? How did you do it? Because I remember what that felt like, making one decision. And then that's what I told them. It's just one decision, and then layer other things in. Because if you go to the table with all of this to-do list, you're totally setting yourself up for failure, for all of these places where you can miss the mark. And the way our brain works, it's like a GPS. And if we're programming the GPS and we're shorting out the circuits and the systems, like it won't even go to like turn one towards your destination. And that's all we need is the first step. So I'm going to challenge you today, like decide something, declare it, and then do it. Just do it and trust yourself to the point where it's like, this is such a muscle that you're stretching and leaning into that as soon as you decide it, it's as good as done.
Can I just add like one thing to that? I just want to add one thing. So Kaci has shared, I think that her results that she's had right now, like losing 20 pounds, like that is a beacon and that gets like your head to turn. And we are 110% celebrating where she is right now. But she also has been documenting that journey before we had the head turn big number. And I think that we're inundated in online business with here is the big number head turning. And then we are on a treadmill speed high of trying to get there. And so I hope like a takeaway here is it is deciding to do the thing. And it simply is one step at a time. One step. I am almost more interested, and I'm so glad that you said that people reached out to you, Kaci, because I didn't know that. That's awesome. That I mean, what I just like you had a birthday yesterday. It feels like, right? With just that one post. But when people post big numbers, I want to celebrate success, whatever success looks like. But I'm almost more interested in the layers behind that and the journey that it took to get there. Because I know based on years in business, it was super messy to get to that point. And I think that we need to be responsible and share all of that messiness instead of just the celebrating. Because that, I mean, we can share big numbers in other areas of things that we've done, Kaci. But to me, I don't know. It keeps people in a constant loop of not taking the decide, the declare, and the do. And so, yeah, I just wanted to add to that the messy parts are actually the best parts.
It is. It's the gooey center. It's so yummy.
All right, friends. So make sure that you definitely check out Profitable Clarity. It will be on the channel at some point. If you are listening, hop on over and see what we're doing on the YouTube channel. And I guess we'll take care and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.